Welcome folks. In this video, I'm going to take you through English paper 2 for the year 2017. And we are dealing with a paper that was written by the internal candidates. So we are going to look at the questions. So question 1, we have structure, 20 marks. Then answer both section 1 and 2. Section 1, we are going to deal with vocabulary, 10 marks. From the 4 options provided, select the best word or words which is or are closest in meaning to the underlined word in the sentence. Write your answer in the space provided. The example, he made a plea to his parents. The word plea simply means a request. Now let's look at the questions now that we are supposed to answer. So the first one, the march did not start on time as one of the march officials arrived late. So we are looking at the synonym for the word arrive. So from the given 4 choices, the correct one is turned up. So turned up simply means to arrive. Then we have question 2. This bag is made of artificial leather. So the word artificial, we are looking at something that was made by a man, which is a man-made. So here the best answer is synthetic. Then we move on to question 3. Due to the drought, the power supply was irregular. So irregular, we are looking at in this context. Irregular simply means like it's not normal according to the way power should be supplied. And we know what drought is. We are looking at a period of time where there is no rainfall. So the correct option that we can go for here is erratic. Then question 4. The head teacher asked the prefects to give him their candid opinion about the mischief maker. So the candid, we are looking at an opinion that is, let's say we can say a honest opinion. So the synonym for candid from the 4 multiple choices is frank. So frank means like very honest or straightforward. You just have to be straightforward. For example, you can tell someone to be frank. Just tell me the truth. Be frank with me, meaning you need to be open up freely. Tell me what you think is the truth. Then we move on to question 5. The United States of America provides an apt example of an affluent country. So affluent has to do with money, like in terms of wealth. So the best answer here is wealth. Then 6, industrial towns are usually polluted by smoke. So for polluted, we'll go for contaminated. We know to pollute simply means to make something unsafe, especially for human consumption. Then we go to question 7. The president accommodated a diversity of ideas. So a diversity, we are looking at this simply means having different ideas, like not depending in one source of, maybe we can say one source of income. Like if, for example, if we depend too much on copper as a country, as the major source of income, what if one day we find that copper is no more? So we need to diversify. We need to find many sources of income. Now here, it is just an example. Our focus is we are looking at of ideas. So diversities in this context simply means like many, numerous of ideas. So from the options, the best one is variety. So that is our correct one. So the best way to you don't have to take English as only you answer your papers, maybe your exams, your mock, whatever. So what I would like you guys to do is, as you are learning, please make sure you put these words into practice, because we know that by practice we become perfect. So remember to practice. Then we go to question 8. The outfit was suitable for the weather. So suitable, we are looking at it was okay. It was meant for this. It was in line with the weather. So we'll go with the appropriate. Then we move on to question 9. She by chance found the missing ring. So this simply means that whatever that this lady was doing, the focus or the point was not looking for the ring. Maybe this person was looking for something else. As a result, in that process, she came across the missing ring. So we'll go for came across. Okay, so then we move on to question 10. An old friend of mine called at my office yesterday. Now, this is like an idiom, or we can say it's a phrasal verb. So you don't have to take this as like calling like a telephone. No, this means it was a short visit. If someone visits, you can say that person called at. So the best answer is visited. So that is what it means in this context. So we are looking at a short visit. Then question 11. I was asked to record the interview verbatim. Verbatim. So what is verbatim? So the verbatim, it is coming from the word verbal. So verbal has to do with the word. So for this one, the best answer is word for word. Then question 12. Now for question 12, we shouted not always, we should not always back up our friends in what they say. So to back up is like to give support. So the best one here is support. Like for instance, you can say, guys, I need your backup, meaning I want you to support me in whatever that you are doing. Then we go on question 13. Now question 13, we have all members agreed to a tentative proposal of raising the membership fee. So what is a tentative? So the tentative simply means provision. Then we move on to question 14. So question 14, some people have only superficial knowledge of things. So the word superficial is like not having enough, like something like just on the surface. You have not gone into deeper. So the best one here is just shallow. Then 15, the plan fell out because few members supported it. The plan fell out because few members supported it. So fell out here, it means failed. So they didn't see it through. So that is our answer. Then question 16. The police came across a cadaver near the post office. So what is meant by a cadaver? So a cadaver is a corpse. So a dead body. So that's what it means by a cadaver. So that is a corpse. Then we have question 17. Carbon dioxide extinguishes fire. So we know what it means to extinguish, to stop fire. Now from this, we want to look at the word that means it. So we know it's puts out. Then we move on to question 18. She has been unwell for a long time and her health has deteriorated. So to deteriorate, it means it has become worse. So the best one is worsened. Then we have 19. 19 reads, water is a therapy. Water is a therapy. So therapy has to do with the med. So from here we can say that we deal with the healer. So this means that water can be used to heal some diseases. Then killing people is a heinous crime. So for this one, we know that the best one is heartless. Okay, so we've answered these. Now let's move on to the next part. So the next part will have section 2, transformation temas. So in each of the following items, sentence A is complete, but sentence B is incomplete. Complete sentence B each time, making it as similar as possible in meaning to sentence A. Make sentence B one sentence, never two. Do not make any changes to the printed parts of sentence B. Example, Chuma broke the mirror. So this is in active voice. So in active voice, we know that we are supposed to have the subject plus broke the verb plus mirror as the object. Then our point is this sentence was now written in passive voice where the object becomes before the subject. So the object, verb, and the subject. Now let's look at the questions that we are supposed to transform. So the first one, question 1A, the pool is deeper here than at the far end. So you can maybe view it like this. So we have this is water. So if this is our water, then it is like this. So you can see that the word here means somewhere here. So this is here. Then you will consider this one as the far end. So we are told that in terms of the depth here, it is more deeper than this. So if it is deeper here, then it is shallow. We say shallower at the far end. So we can see the picture. Since we are beginning with at the far end, then we are going to use the word shallower here. So we need to look at the concept. So we'll say at the far end, the pool is at the far end, the pool is shallower than here. So at the far end, the pool is shallower than here. We still have the same meaning. So at the far end, the pool is shallower than here. You can put even a comma. Then we move on to question 2. Now question 2, we can see that we have a question that is in direct speech, and we want to transform this one into reported speech. So now there are some changes that you need to do to some of the words in the direct speech, like this changes to that. Then your changes depends the sex of the hearer. So in our, I will say, if this Mumba, let's say Mumba is if this is a man, so we'll say his teacher, won't say your teacher, so his teacher. Then tomorrow changes into the following day or the next day. Now let's look at how can we transform this sentence. So we'll say Mr. Banda commanded. So we'll begin by mentioning this. So Mr. Banda commanded Mumba to give so that receipt to his teacher the following day. So Mr. Banda commanded Mumba to give that receipt to his teacher the following day. And please remember, you may find that one sentence can be written maybe in 2 or 3 ways. So it depends with what you think comes first whenever you encounter these questions. So we have question 3. You will not qualify to enter college until you are 16. So the condition here is until this person reach 16 years of age. That is when this person will enter for, will qualify to enter for college. So say now, I will say not until you will continue with the condition. So the condition is 16. So not until you reach 16. So not until you reach 16 will you qualify to enter for college. So not until you reach 16 will you qualify to enter for college. Then we'll have question 4. Although the storm was heavy, the little girl walked to school. Then we'll have begin in spite. So in spite of the heavy, storm, comma, the little girl walked to school. So now we move on to question 5. So question 5 is you can scream as much as you can, but she will not hear you. Then we have begin, however. So how can we rewrite? So however is same as it's the same as but, nevertheless. So now here this is it's a negative word. So we said however you scream, comma, She will not hear you. It's still negative. However you scream, she will not hear you. Then we have question 6. The book was so good that it was published right away. Then begin with so. So say so good, so good, so good. The book was that. So whenever we begin with so, we need that. So good the book was that it was published right away. So good the book was that it was published right away. Then number 7. So number 7 is sensitive in this way, because if you look at the first one, we are told Mary had just left the room when the baby started crying. So here we have 2 actions. The first action was the leaving of the room. Then the second action was the baby started crying. Now here we can look at the first word that we have been given is scarcely. So many people, you just know maybe scarcely as in not enough or barely. But there is one thing that I want to share with you. For a sentence like this one, scarcely can mean as the same as immediately. So it's the same as immediately. We have as soon as. So as soon as, then we have no sooner. No sooner. So all these 3 words simply means as scarcely. So we are looking at after the first action, then we need to look at the other action that happened. So we'll say scarcely had Mary left the room. Scarcely had Mary So scarcely had Mary left the room. Then whenever you have this, you need to use than for the second action. So say then the baby started crying. Then we move on to question 8. The goods were stolen because the building was not secured. The goods dash 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 dash. Then we have the word secured has changed into security. So they want us to begin with the goods dash dash dash. Then we end with the security. So how can we write this one? So say the goods were stolen because the building had no security. So the goods were stolen because the building had no security. Then we move on to question 9. While Monde was picking mushrooms in the bush, a snake bit her. Now we have the ing. So whenever we have the ing, the picture is we need to have a comma, and before a comma we are supposed to write a phrase. Now, under a phrase, you are not supposed to mention the doer of an action. So the doer of an action here, in fact, we have two actions. There is the biting, which was done by the snake, and there was also the picking of mushrooms, which was done by Monday. So the point is, the first party, we are not supposed to mention Monday or the snake. So how can we rewrite this one? So just say picking mushrooms in the bush, because if you say picking mushrooms in the bush, comma, we have not mentioned the one that did the picking. So that is the pattern that you need to follow whenever you have a sentence that begins with the ing. So picking mushrooms in the bush, then you can say Monday. So you can begin by Monday was bitten by a snake. Or if you want, we can say a snake bit Monday. It's the same. Then we have question 10. The children were roasting cassava and giving it to their parents. Begin cassava. So how can we write? So say cassava was roasted by, so say was roasted by the children. By the children and given to their parents. So this is what I can share with you guys about this transformation. So if you have ways of maybe answering these transformations, please feel free to write them in the comment section so that we can also learn from you. Now we have this question 2 where we are dealing with comprehension, 20 marks. Read the following passage carefully and then answer the questions that follow. Now if you deal with comprehension, so comprehension is all about the understanding of a given passage. So there is you, the reader, the one reading this passage, and there was the writer, the one that wrote the given passage. So the whole thing about comprehension is you want to understand what the writer was writing. Now there is no actual formula or principle that I can tell you to follow whenever you're dealing with a comprehension, because you may find that one passage, one comprehension, one question of comprehension can be given to maybe 5 people, and you give them to answer, you give them the time they want to answer, and then after that you find that they may have different answers. Why? The comprehension depends on their ability to understand, and we differ how we understand. So this also it depends on the level of understanding where you are as an individual in relation with the English as grammar and the vocabulary. Now some of the ways in which we can use is you have to read through the passage very fast to get the idea. So you have to read through the passage. So for the first time you read through, then the second one you read to understand it, then you underline some of the words that you feel you don't know. Then the third one is now you read per passage. You go to the passage paragraph 1. I mean, not per passage but per paragraph. So you get to paragraph 1. You read paragraph 1. Try to understand only for paragraph 1, then you refer to the questions that are given. So with that, we'll be able to see what we can answer. So let's go through the passage, then we'll answer some questions. So, paragraph 1, free radicals and antioxidants are two words that increasingly hear in the context of health and aging. So let us get a clear picture about antioxidants and free radicals. In a perfect world, energy is balanced and signage abounds. The same idea applies to health when our bodies are fit and in chemical balance. But today's world is far from perfect. Our lives are typically stressful and we consume toxics on a daily basis, which ultimately alter our delicate biochemistry and wreak havoc on our internal chemical reactions. Compromised immune system and increased exposure to free radicals eventually wear us down, aging us prematurely or bringing on fearful diseases like cancer. But for powerful natural compounds called antioxidants form a front line of defense that attack and neutralize hordes of free radicals, helping us restore our health and live longer, happier lives. Then we move on to question 3. A freshly cut apple will turn brown in a matter of minutes. Iron, when exposed to water and air, starts to rust. These chemical changes are the result of oxidation, the process by which a compound reacts with oxygen. Oxidation in the body creates free radicals in fats, tissues, and bloodstream. The higher the number of free radicals, the greater the level of oxidative stress. Oxygen is a critical element in the water we drink and the air that we breathe. Without it, we would not survive. Yet, normal cellular reactions create toxic forms of oxygen that are free radicals such as superoxide, hydroxyl, and lipid peroxides, singlet oxygen, and hydrogen peroxide. Small amount of free radicals in the body are a good thing. Too many, however, accelerate aging and disease. Then for 5, free radicals generated by the body could lead to erosion in the functioning of the brain. Waste products released by the body when we burn food for energy production is the free radical phenomenon. These free radicals can often lead to some loss of memory over the years. 6. Not all free radicals are bad. Free radicals produced by the immune system destroy viruses and bacteria. Others are involved in producing vital hormones and activating enzymes that are needed for life. But most of us are bombarded by a multitude of environmental toxins like smoke, cigarette smoke, heavy metals, gasoline derivatives, ultraviolet radiations, and other carcinogenic chemicals that are also sources of free radicals. A healthy body can normally keep its free radicals in check, but if the immune system is weakened or the free radical load is too high, cellular damage results. A significant cause of aging is cellular free radical damage. As we get older, an increased amount of free radical garbage accumulates in our bodies. The good thing is that we are not completely powerless. Antioxidant supplements can help protect us from the damage of free radical bombardment. So if you've followed carefully, even if we have read it once, the whole passage is about the impact of free radicals into our bodies, and also we've looked at some of these free radicals are bad. Then we also have considered that even though they are bad, there are others radicals that may be useful to the body. Now let's look at the first question, then it will relate to the passage. In each of the questions 1 to 9, select the best answer from the 4 options provided. Indicate your answer by drawing a circle around the letter on this question paper as in the example below. If you change your mind, cross out the initial choice neatly and then circle your revised answer clearly. For question 10, answer as instructed. The 2 words free radicals and antioxidants are increasingly heard in health situations. So we have been given the answer. Okay. Now let's look at here. The passage is about So the passage is about free radicals and antioxidants. Okay, now let's go to question 2. According to paragraph 2, people's lives are, the first one we have carefree, compromised, delicate, full of stress. So maybe let's go back to paragraph 2. So in a perfect world, energy is balanced and sign energy abounds. The same idea applies to health when our bodies are fit and in chemical balance. But today's world is far from perfect. Our lives are typically stressful. Okay. So our lives are typically stressful and we consume toxins on a daily basis which ultimately alter our delicate biochemistry and wreak havoc on our internal chemical reaction. Okay. Then compromised immune system and increased exposure to free radicals eventually wear us down. Okay, so there is this wear us down because of what? Compromised immune systems. Okay, then aging us prematurely. Okay, or bringing on fearful diseases like cancer. So these are the points because of this compromised immune system. And if you are exposed too much to free radicals, so this is what happens. Okay, but powerful natural compounds called antioxidants form a front line of defense that attack and neutralize hordes of free radicals, helping us restore our health and live longer, happier lives. So let's go back. So according to paragraph 2, people's lives are full of stress. Look at this point here. Our lives are typically stressful and we consume toxins on a daily basis which ultimately alter our delicate biochemistry and wreak havoc on our internal chemical reactions. So our lives is full of stressy. So that is our best answer here. Then question 3, in paragraph 2, we are told that diseases like cancer are caused by free radicals and so let's go back to paragraph 2 again. Let's look at here. So compromise the immune systems. You see this point here, compromise immune systems and increase. So we are told with the free radicals, they have mentioned the free radicals. So the other remaining causative for this is just the compromised immune system. That's not what they have mentioned. So let's look at the multiple choices. So antioxidants, chemical reaction, compromise. So the answer is just C, since the free radicals have already been mentioned. So the remaining part is just compromised immune system. Then we go to question 4. According to paragraph 3, when a compound reacts with oxygen in the body, A, we have chemical changes takes place, free radicals are formed, it turns brown like an apple, the person gets sick. Let's go to paragraph 3 again. Let's have a look at it. So a freshly cut apple will turn brown in the matter of minutes. Iron, when exposed to water and air, starts to rust. Okay, so we are looking at the effect when iron is exposed to water and air definitely we are looking at oxygen. These chemicals changes as the result of oxidation. Okay, these chemical changes, what chemical changes? The turning of an apple in a brown color, also the changing of iron or the formation of rust to iron in the presence of water and oxygen. So it's these chemical changes. So the process by which compound, okay, so these are just like defining what oxidation is. But let's go back now. Let's see if we have enough information. So according to paragraph 3, when a compound reacts with oxygen in the body, chemical changes take place. Yes, this is true. We've seen. Then we'll go to question 5. In paragraph 5, all the elements listed below are free radicals except. Okay, let's go back to paragraph 4. So paragraph 4, oxygen is a critical element in the water we drink and the air that we breathe. Without it, we would not survive. Yet normal cellular reactions create toxins forms of oxygen that are free radicals, such as superoxide is a radical, okay, hydroxyl radical, lipid peroxide radical, singlet oxygen radical, and hydrogen peroxide. All these are radical. Now let's go back to our multiple choices so that we can see which one is not. So in paragraph 4, all the elements listed below are free radicals except hydrogen peroxide is a radical, lipid peroxide is a radical, oxygen in water, this is our answer. This is not a radical because singlet oxygen is a radical, so our answer is C. Now question 6, from paragraph 5 we can conclude that free radicals dash in the body. Let's go back to paragraph 5. Okay, so the passage reads, free radicals generated by the body could lead to erosion in the functioning of the brain. So we have erosion in the functioning of the brain. Okay, so we are looking at the damage that can be done by radicals toward the brain. Okay, then we have waste products released by the body when we burn food for energy production is the free radical phenomenon. Okay, these free radicals can often lead to some loss of memory over the years. Okay, so it's all about the impact of these radicals on brain. So let's go back. So from paragraph 5 we can conclude that free radicals are waste product, burn food for energy, generate energy, produce erosion. So this is our answer. We can see that erosion was mentioned. Then paragraph 7. In paragraph 6, authors are involved in the word others refer to paragraph 6. Let's go back. Paragraph 6. Not all free radicals are bad. Okay, not all free radicals are bad. Free radicals produced by the immune system destroy viruses. So some of these are very good. In fact, the ones that are produced by the immune system destroy viruses and bacteria. Okay, others are involved. Others, and the whole thing is about this, others are involved in producing vital hormones and activating enzymes that are needed for life. So the others that we are talking about here are the same free radicals. So some free radicals produced by the immune system can destroy viruses and bacteria. Now, the other free radicals are involved in producing vital hormones. So we've got the concept there. So the word others refer to, so the answer is free radicals. According to the passage, which of the following statement is not true? Free radicals can cause loss of memory. This is true. Can make you age quickly. This is true. In moderation are good. This is true. Meaning not all are bad. That's what this means. Then produced by the immune system are bad. This is not true, because we know that the one that were produced by the immune system are used to destroy the viruses and the bacteria. Then we have question 9. Paragraph 6. A healthy body can normally keep its free radicals in check. Means that a healthy body can dash. We've read paragraph 6. So control the development of, go through, then so the answer is control the development of free radical. Okay, now let's go to question 10. Question 10. From the underlined words in the passage, find antonyms. So the word antonyms, it means we want to look at the word that means opposite to the given words. So the first one, concealed. So to conceal simply means like to cover or to prevent something from being exposed. So let's go back to our passage. Let's look at the word that means in opposite with conceal from the underlined ones. So the first one that was underlined is abounds. Then from these, exposed. So to expose is to make it known. To conceal is to hide. So exposed is our answer. So we have exposed. Then to mend is like to mend, to make it right. So we want something to do with destroying. So let's go back. Let's look at this. So to mend, so we have damage. So to mend, the antonym from this is damage, because damage has to do with destroy. Reduced. Let's look at it. Reduce, which word? Reduce is like to decrease, so we want something to do with increase. Do we have increase? Okay, so which one are we going for? So let's maybe follow it step by step. So abound, the first one, abound. Okay, so I've seen this word increased is it? It's just that I've underlined it, but it was underlined by, so that is our answer, increased. Then withheld, to withheld is like to keep something. So we want like to release. Let's go back to our passage. So damage, we've answered. Weekend, activating. So here, release is our answer. So to withheld, to keep, then the antonym to release, reduce, the antonym increase, to mend, antonym damage, concealed, expose. So we have answered our question. So for if you encounter maybe questions that you don't know the meaning, so the best way to grasp the meaning is you just have to read the whole sentence where that word is. You will be able to get the meaning. Then you have read the following passage carefully and then answer the questions that follow. So this is a summary and we know the importance of summaries. You are given a passage that is too long, and according to the passage, what are the attributes? So the whole thing is you need to understand the demand of the question. So the attributes, the word attributes is like characteristics. So we are looking at characteristics of an ideal police officer. Then present a well-connected summary of not more than 110 words. The summary has been studied for you. An ideal police officer should do. So now, how do we get points? That's where, so you should learn how to get a point or points. Then whenever you are about to write your own summary or the final answer, make sure you use your own now language. Now, there is one thing that I would like to share with you. So I call it funny boys. Funny boys. So the word F, I mean the letter F is for. Then A, so then for A is ant. So N is for no, this no. Then B is for bat, batty. Then what else? O is for O. Then Y is for yet. But then S is just so. So my point is the use of these fanboys is your focus is in sentences where we have for, and, no, but, or, yet, and so. This is where the points are. So now let's look at the first paragraph. The Institute for Security Studies, ISS, conducted some research on the attributes of an ideal police officer. The researchers started by asking respondents to discuss the ideal or perfect police. So we have this. The researchers started by asking respondents to discuss their ideal or perfect police. They recorded answers from the respondents on a flip chart. Okay, let's go. So let's look at 2. It was ascertained that an ideal police officer should be competent. So it was certain that an ideal police officer should be competent. An incompetent police officer is a liability to both the organization and the country. So the first point here is this point, which is the first characteristic is competent. Then here they are describing the incompetent, what it means. So it's a liability to both the organization and the country. Furthermore, an ideal police officer is one who provides any problematic service to the complainant. So another point here. Some police officers' security service to the members of the public is unethical. For example, there was an incident in which a police officer lamentably failed to record a statement from a complainant. So avoid the examples. Whenever you are given an example in your summary, do not also put that example, because your point is you want to make it as short as possible. Then we move on to question 3. When responding to calls for assistance from members of the public, an ideal police officer must be punctual. So another one, an ideal police officer must be punctual. Without doubt, time is of great essence when responding to matters of crime. Then for 4, in a world that is shrinking rapidly due to globalization, it is a must that a police officer should be educated and well trained. This is the word "and," so it has helped also. It is must that a police officer should be educated and well trained. Another point. A police officer who has a humble education background cannot competently handle complex crimes matters, especially fraud and cybercrime, and among others. So let's go. A police officer who has humble education background cannot competently handle complex crimes matters, especially fraud and cybercrime. Okay. In fact, even an educated police officer needs to be exposed to an elaborate training system. In that way, such an officer can confidently deal with both local and international organizations. So this point here is in line with the, so it is just the point that you should use to maybe expand or explaining this point. It is must that a police officer should be educated and well trained, because here they are just explaining about the education and the training that must be given to a police officer for such to be an ideal. Okay, then 5. Since police work entails dealing with the community, it logically follows that a perfect police officer must be friendly, approachable, and patient with people. So you can see there is "and," so this is also another point. Then these attributes are necessary because they are a cohesive tie between the police service and the community. So this is a point, but this point is explaining this. Thus, they enhance the rapport between the police and the members of the public. Still an explanation. In other words, they reduce the gap between the police and the community. So this one is also a detailed explanation of this. So this must be summarized by this point. Then we move on to 6. In order to have a win-win situation between the police and the community, police officers worth their salt must be respectful of civils and must not use gratuitous violence. So we can see we have "and." So this is also another point. So this is a point. Police officers worth their salt must be respectful of civilians and must not use gratuitous violence. Okay, so it is worthy note that an antagonistic police service simply widens the gap between them and the community, and when that happens, the community stops giving the police the information they need to. So this one is also an explanation of this. So you need to be careful with that. Then 7, an ideal police officer is one who is exemplary in his or her action. Remember, or it can also be used to identify the point. So this is another point. Reports of unethical police officers have been recorded. For example, we have all heard of stories of police officer who extort some money from unsuspecting members of the public. Just like in any other profession, some police officers have been accused of being corrupt. Then for 8, in law enforcement, it is a cardinal point to be as objective as possible. This means that when there is an iota of a doubt as to whether a person committed a crime, the benefits of doubt must be given to the accused person. The rationale behind this is to ensure that no innocent person should go to prison. Arising from this, it is crucial that an ideal police officer should be objective. So this is another point. Furthermore, he or she must be committed and passionate about his work. So we can see that we have and it's in line with the demand of our question. So this is another point. Then number 10, it is worth pointing out that police work is very stressful, and as such, it requires a physically fit police officer. It requires a physically fit police officer. So this is another point. Now, the most important point is it requires a physically fit police. So this means that an ideal police officer must be physically fit. This is important because police work involves a lot of mobility. Moreover, chasing and apprehending criminals require a lot of strength. It is abundantly clear that a police officer in ill health cannot cope with the demands of police work. So this is just a further explanation of this point. Number 10, honesty is a virtue in police work. In this regard, therefore, an ideal police officer must be honest and trustworthy. You can see the point here. So we have another point. He or she must apply the law that he or she was trained to do. Above all, he or she must be flexible and radiate a human face when dealing with both witnesses. So this is it. And so we can just say this is all point. So you can see that the fun boy will help you to write down the points. Then from there, my point is don't only focus on the fun boy, those words which I gave you earlier. You can also look at the sentence. So the key point is all easy. You just have to look at what is the demand of the question. So if you look at the demand of the question, for me to get these points, the whole thing is I've understood the question. So make sure you understand the demand of the question. Then you follow these steps that have helped you. So this is what we can share about this paper. Let's hope I've made at least an impact in somebody's life. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.